So one of the things that is missing in Dialogflow CX at the moment, and I'm recording this video in November 2021, and as of now, one of the things which is missing in Dialogflow CX is that you cannot actually see the history of the conversations that the users have had with your CX bot. Now they do have some kind of analytics, and it's mostly all like aggregate level analytics in the sense that you cannot go and get fine-grained information about the specific conversation itself. Like you don't see back and forth information about what the user typed and what the bot replied with and things like that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell you about a couple of things. First of all, there's a tutorial on my website where you can go and take a look at how you can use Stackdriver and the Stackdriver logs to get a download of the bot conversation. So I would like you to go and check it out. I'm not going to go over the tutorial itself, but the gist of it is that you have to make sure you enable the Stackdriver logging first, and once you do that, you will be able to see those logs and download them and things like that. And you can go to the Logs Explorer in Stackdriver and you'll be able to select for Dialogflow. And once you do that, you will actually be able to download a copy of these logs in two different formats. You can either use the Json format or you can use the CSV format. They have their advantages and disadvantages. I also talk about that on that page in the tutorial. Now, the thing with the JSON format is that it gives you more information, such as the actual response coming back from the bot. So the other thing I've done is that I've actually gone ahead and downloaded some sample logs from a bot I have on my site, a CX bot I have on my site. And I have taken that, and what I've also done is I've built a tool in my BotFlow app which allows you to take that log which is in the JSON format. So this is the JSON format that I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this whole thing. And in my BotFlow app, I have this tool. You can go to this more tools and go to this convert CX Stackdriver JSON logs to CSV file. And then you can paste that whole JSON that you downloaded from Stackdriver. And then you can click on this update CSV preview button. And what you see is that it's converted that JSON into a more easy to use format, especially if you're not a programmer. It will convert it into a CSV format. And you notice that it has these fields, the timestamp, which is when the user sent that query. It has the session ID of the request. The current page, which is important because you need to know this page so that you can figure out if whatever the user said was mapped to the correct intent. And then you have the user's query, the response coming back. So this is a JSON object. So I just stringify that JSON, I convert it into a string and render it inside the CSV table. And then the actual intent which was mapped, as well as the score, which was the intent detection confidence score. You can see that it's not always 1, sometimes it's less than 1. And I get the whole, I render the whole thing into a CSV table. And then you can click on this download CSV over here, and you can actually download it to a CSV file. So the advantage of this approach, of course, is that now once you have it in a CSV file, you can take it into any spreadsheet tool and you can actually measure the accuracy of your bot, right? I have some articles on my site about how to measure the accuracy of your Dialogflow bot. The basic idea is that you have to categorize each of these responses into true positives, true negatives, false positives, and false negatives. You can go and read about that on my site. And then that will allow you to get some kind of an idea of how accurate your bot is behaving right now. So this is the tool, and it is a paid tool. So you will find that you can get access to this if you subscribe, or rather you access my BotFlow app. So I just wanted to mention that. And even if you don't want to use the tool, you can still use this approach to download it into a CSV file or a JSON, whichever you prefer. And you can also write some scripts to parse this information out and sort of do what my tool already does for you. So in other words, you can check out this tutorial to get some idea of how you can get the conversation history for your Dialogflow CX bot.